All right, welcome back to another episode of Revved Up with Ram Thorburn. Sorry for the late start. More technical issues. I don't know what's going on with my streaming software, but it seems to be double booking, and then it won't. I have to go in and reconfigure everything, so give me just a moment to make sure everything is set up. We got Tracy James in here. What's up, Tracy? How you doing today? Let's see here. Give me Robert Whaley. What's up, dude? Good to have you in here. Raw Dog. We got we should have a pretty good show for you here today. We actually have Barracuda made some content for me today, so we are going to play that towards the end of the early section in here. Oh man, what's up, dude? Good to have you back in here. How are y'all doing today? Give me just a second here while I make sure that everything. Okay, let's see. Just make sure that everything is up and running smoothly here. Let's see. Give me just a moment, and we will get this show on the road. How is everybody doing today? Okay, it looks like we are live. Looks like the thumbnail is up. And yes, main story today, David Chipman must be blocked. The Biden's pick for the ATF. He is a gun control activist. And we'll talk. We'll save it for just a little bit. But he is going to be one of the worst ATF picks possible. He will be the further politicization of our three-letter agencies that we saw under Barack Obama, where we saw it in the DOJ, the FBI. Now they're going to bring the ATF into it. We're now even seeing that the Federal Reserve is going woke, which is, I mean, you know, the Federal Reserve always says they're independent and apolitical, but we all know that's a line of shit. Anyways, guys, let's see. Who else we got in here? If you are in here, say what up, hit that thumbs up button, share this stream with your friends, invite everybody in here, because we all know that YouTube is asshole, and they will not promote me. So it's all up to you guys to help this channel grow, to get this show off the ground, to keep it running. I am looking at some future things that I can do with it. It's probably going to be a little bit of a stasis right now. I was talking to Barracuda a little bit earlier today when he sent me that when he sent me this video that he made, and we'll play that in a little bit. It's awesome. And, you know, I would like to be able to do some more, like, production, skit, stuff like that, do some more Crowder-esque type things, but a lot of that is going to be contingent upon what happens with my job situation. So we're going to have to kind of keep the stasis for right now. But anyways, let's see. Tracy James says, sounds like another one of Biden's loser picks. Yeah, well, Biden, I don't think, has a single winner pick. I mean, unless you are the neoliberal globalist establishment, then they are winners. But of course, when the neoliberal establishment is in power, everybody else fucking loses, both nationally and internationally. That means more bombs are dropping. That means more inflation. That means it means more of this woke nonsense, more of the destruction of the American way of life, more of the death of the American dream. And that is what we get under Joe Biden. So, as always, we're going to start out with a little Clown World commentary. I'm trying to have a little less Clown World commentary today because I do want to get to more of the news, and we've been spending half the show on that stuff recently, and it seems to be a lot of it is just kind of getting redundant. I mean, it's just a lot of like, ha, look at these assholes, and we do need to keep saying, ha, look at these assholes, because, you know, we need to make sure that it gets out there and that people see how this whole woke, this whole woke neo-Marxist cultural revolution is a cult. It is it's an atheistic atheistic religion. It's an atheistic religion at this point. I mean, they have their apostles. They have all the things that you would, all the trappings of a actual religion, but of course, it cannot believe in God, because when you are in that neo-Marxist, neo-communist ideology, the top power always has to be the state. So you cannot have anything bigger than this world that you look up to, because you need to rely on that state. A communist state needs to be needed. And in the American ethos, the whole idea is that we don't need the state. We have our independence. And as long as we have a society that's built upon nuclear family units with the smallest governmental structures available, then we are going to be able to thrive and succeed. We got Bread Casket in here. What is up, dude? Yes, some of the sheep. There are some sheep out there. There are quite a few of them. People that just want to turn on CNN once every week and get their daily or their weekly recap of the news, which is mostly all propagandistic bullshit. And because we all know the Smith-Mund Act, the revision of the Smith-Mund Act in was either 10 or 12, actually allowed for propaganda on American soil against American citizens. And we have noticed that the media has gotten just way, way worse ever since then. I mean, the entire corporate media structure seems to be just one big propagandistic machine that props up the neocon, neoliberal uniparty establishment. But anyways, let's get to some of this Clown World commentary. It seems like every single day there is something new to talk about with these drag queens and bringing in little kids. You know, we saw yesterday, we had that kid with the helmet in, which somebody told me that I guess that's to fix a misshapen skull. So, you know, good that little kid's getting his getting his treatment there, but I got a feeling that it is not going to work out so well for him if he has parents that are taking him to drag strip clothes and drag strip shows and having their little toddler throw money at him like a stripper. We got Johnny Angel in here. What's up, dude? Johnny Angel says, hi, everyone, and Tessian Rousseau. Good to have you back here from Romania. I see you have not fixed your sleep schedule yet. While we appreciate that, I hope that doesn't hinder you in any way. But we have this. So this is just one duet example from this drag queens video. And I guess they're doing these Zoom calls or something with drag queens where they are further indoctrinating little kids, trying to desensitize them to this sort of cultural movement where men can be women, the whole disruption of gender understanding, or sexual difference is really what it is, because gender understanding is playing into their language a little bit. There is no such thing as gender understanding. There is biological sex. And there was a time when biological sex and gender were synonymous. But those have been completely divorced at this point, and one is just a fairy tale, make-believe, whatever you feel like you are. We got Jeremiah in here. I think Jeremiah might be new here. It says Chipman is a kid killer. Yes, because Chipman was there with the Waco team, and yes, absolutely. Waco was one of the worst disasters in human history, and they are absolute proof of why the federal government should not be trusted, especially the ATF, to regulate weapons, which really, our weapons should not be regulated anyways. It is not the federal government's it's not their responsibility to know what weapons I have. It is not their job to keep us safe. It's your job to have weapons to keep yourself safe. But, you know, we have a growing, modernity has bred a culture of cowards. And we have a lot of people that they do not want the responsibility of their own safety or their family's safety. And they want to lean on Big Daddy government to make sure that they don't have any of the responsibility themselves. They don't have to learn how to use a gun. They don't have to learn how to shoot a gun. They don't have to learn, you know, proper techniques and defense. They just, you know, make a phone call, and then if they're just here to mop up the crime scene, well, you know what? I did what I could. I made a phone call. Yeah, well, cops are there. When seconds count, the cops are there in minutes. And typically, if somebody is breaking into your house and they have the intent to kill or harm you, they're going to get that done well before the cops get there. So it is on us to have our weapons, and it is not on the federal government to know what we have, to regulate what we have. Machine guns should be legal. Tanks should be legal. Grenades should be legal. It should all be fucking legal. And if you commit a crime with one of those, well, that is the crime that you committed. But as Benjamin Franklin said, those who will trade a little bit of liberty for a little bit of security deserve neither and shall lose both. And we see it's a constant slippery slope. Whenever they start getting into some sort of regulation, they end up going further with it. Now, I was watching a show on Netflix called Startup. It was a pretty good show, but I think it got canceled after 3 seasons, and it didn't really have much of a conclusion. But there was part of it where it was about this completely decentralized network, a decentralized computer network, and they ended up getting a split in the team where there were those that wanted to keep the government out of it and were sticking to their guns on that. And then there were those that when the NSA came to them with some sort of terrorist threat, there were ones that were like, well, we have to do something. We have to help. These are human lives. And I certainly understand that impulse. But the fact of the matter is once you do that, once you let the government in your door, it's like a vampire. Once you give them permission to enter, They could just be coming in to use your phone. Next thing you know, you're sleeping in the grass there in your bed and you have nothing and no rights. Power always has a way of snowballing. It always does, because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So Anyways, sorry, I saw somebody said David Chipman, and I went off on a total tangent there. But let's see this video. Now, the end is actually kind of funny because what this kid says at the end. We'll play it.
Hi, if you have a little sibling or a child, do it this video and have them answer some questions all about my drag. Let's see what they think about a drag queen. Here we go. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Nixon.
Awesome, it is super nice to meet you. I have a couple questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Question number 1, what do you think my name is?
Gianna.
Okay, got it. Question number 2, I just got my nails done. What do you think of them?
They look shiny.
Question 3, who do I look like?
A princess.
What princess?
Question 4, where do I live?
Maybe fairyland?
Last question, what do I do for a job?
Starbucks barista.
Hi, if you
I
have a
just
little
thought that was,
sibling or...
this whole thing is disturbing that they're doing these videos, but I thought it was hilarious that kid said Starbucks barista, because anybody who goes into this critical race theory and stuff in college, they are essentially getting a degree to be a Starbucks barista, and that has been a long-running joke about a lot of these neo-Marxist educational tracks, is that they do not prepare you for any real-world experience. So I thought that was a funny answer from the kid, but I think the overall idea of these videos is disturbing. They are trying to chip away at children's sensibilities. They are trying... Now, children are typically divorced from reality because of just their immaturity, but when you do this kind of stuff, with things like Santa Claus. So, we tell kids there's Santa Claus and there's Easter Bunny, and I've been wrestling recently with whether that's even a good idea anymore, because it does sort of soften them up to be lied to for the rest of their lives. And when you have a neo-Marxist, neo-communist culture that exists solely to separate objective reality, objective truth from our perceptions of reality, it's... I can see how that opens the gate to it. It's sort of a subliminal training at a young age. And so I don't want to go down that whole road of it, should you tell your kids there's Santa Claus and that kind of thing. But when you start having this kind of shit right here, when you start introducing them to things that will still be around when they're older, because when it comes to like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, once they reach 7, 8, whatever, you tell them the truth and they're like, oh, okay. This kind of stuff, it's going to soften them up and they're going to grow up with it. It's planting that seed for something that will be in their maturation process as they get older. Let's see. Pierre Proudhon says, to be governed is to be watched over, inspected, spied on, directed, legislated at, regulated, docketed, controlled, censored by men who have neither the right nor the knowledge nor the virtue. I like that quote. That is a very good quote there. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not an anarchist, I know that we have to have some sort of structure to our society, because you don't want to have it in an anarchist society. I mean, to me, that is... it's just as pie in the sky as communism. Communism is fairy tale land. It doesn't exist because it ignores the tendencies of human nature. And human nature does tend to form itself along hierarchies. And when you create a complete vacuum of control, you're going to get the most autocratic of those that'll fill that void. And so I'm not an anarchist. I'm more of a minarchist. I want a minimal government. I want something that the land is like America, where the land is prescribed under rights that are inherently yours that a government cannot take away. And unfortunately, I don't want to just say the neoliberal, neoconservative uniparty establishment has cut that to Swiss cheese, because it's been happening since before they were in power, but they have certainly exacerbated it, and we're going to get more on that issue when it comes to the gun control debate with David Chipman in just a little bit here. Now, this is what it's like to live in a far-left house. Now, I got a friend, and she is on our side of the aisle, and she has a daughter who is, let's say, on the other side of the aisle. And I've been on the phone with her before where I think we were talking about guns, and she, like, blew up in a very similar way. Oh, Barracuda's in here. He says, I'm late. Shoot. Yeah, well, you're good. I have not played your video yet. That is going to be coming up in just a couple minutes, but that was awesome, man. I'm looking forward to letting everybody see that. But this is the psychopathy that the new liberals are under. It actually rots out your mind. I was saying before, it almost seems like it's a prion disease, that it just eats away at your ability to use rational thought. And this is how it leaves you.
What it's like to live in a far-left house.
You are such a fucking idiot! If you read what Catholicism is, you'll see that it is literally horrible. Catholicism is right up there with capitalism in killing people and making this world a miserable, miserable place. So you practicing Catholicism means that you are no longer my mother, no longer someone I look up to, and you're just as bad as the person who murdered the cow to make that hearse. So go ahead, carry your dead cow around, walk into your Catholic church, and listen to them preaching bigotry and hatred. And you can just become a freaking Republican if that's what you really want to be. Because you won't go to another freaking church. That's pathetic.
That is when you smack your daughter and kick her the fuck out of the house. She's saying that Catholicism... Now, I'm a Protestant, so I'm not a huge fan of Catholicism. I do think that the Catholic Church certainly has its issues. Many issues, but she says that Catholicism is just as evil as capitalism and kills as many people. I am pretty sure that capitalism is the reason why, even in the poorest countries in the world, the standards of living have been raised due to the innovations of capitalism. If you were to press this girl on any of her beliefs, she would not be able to answer a single question about it. She is only going to be able to regurgitate the emotional wailings of her compatriots or her comrades. And, she says she actually has the gall to say, you are not my mother if you remain Catholic. You have to change a different church, and you're pathetic if you don't. It's a little pathetic that you think that you have the right to determine what faith somebody else can hold. Tracy James says, my Catholic mom forced us 9 kids to go to Catholic school and you hated it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not a Catholic. I am a Protestant. I grew up Methodist. I kind of lean a little bit more towards Southern Baptist at this point, but and I'll probably be looking for a Southern Baptist church. They're just kind of a little hard to find right now. But anyways, that is the insanity, and it creates this sort of emotional IQ is what really tanks when you have these liberals and these leftists. They are not able to work through the issues in a rational and understanding manner. I mean, you see all the videos that we've shown of these leftists. That woman, that girl the other day that was in her truck and she was picking up poster board to go to a sign, and some black woman basically said, "I know what you're doing, good for you," and she broke down into tears. These people don't know how to contextualize things because to them they live for only worldly purposes, and everything that is in front of them they feel can be taken away from them, and then they have nothing. Well, for those of us on the right who are typically more religious, I know not all of us are, but we do believe in some sort of higher power where whatever happens to us in the world, we can recover from in eternity. And it's they don't know how to process things, and so they only break down. That's why they have very simplistic views of everything. Everything is broken down into hate. Everything is broken down into some sort of ism or phobe because they cannot look at the contextualizations of any issues. All they know how to look at is the very surface level. I think someone in here the other day said something about like if leftism was a sea, it would span across the entire world, be half an inch deep, and I don't know. It was a great line. I forget exactly what it was, but Tessine Rousseau says, that's horseshit. They wouldn't have a dog. They'd barely have enough to eat themselves. They'd only have daily power outages, sometimes have working heating, sometimes hot water, and no entertainment. Yeah. You talking about if they were in a communist system? And I think you would probably know that because you being from Romania. That's why a lot of these people that come from communist centers of the world and then come to America, they are not down for all of this neo-Marxist bullshit because they've seen what it did to their country, and it always, every single time, leads to death, despair, destitution, desolation, and destruction. All the Ds. So... But then they say capitalism kills. Meanwhile, capitalism has created the most comfortable life in the history of humanity. And even in places that, like I said, third world countries and places like that, they get like free T-shirts sent to America, so that they have it from America. You know, the goodwill, the charity, they get a lot of that trickle down from capitalism. They never would have had any of that if it wasn't for capitalism. And they even, they still benefit from things like shipping technology. But because these leftists don't know how to look at anything with a historical context, they only look at things what's right in front of them, surface level. All they can see is, or they think they're. They sit on the shoulders of giants and think they're flying. I think that's a good way to say it. They stand on the shoulders of giants and they think they're flying. They do not realize what was done historically to build up the life that they are so accustomed to, that is so comfortable for them, and they have nothing but complaints. It's decadence. That if that's one thing the Soviet Union got right, it was mocking the decadence of the West. And that decadence did make us soft. It made us emotionally weak, and it made us unable to defend our own way of life. Roy Rush, what's up, dude? Says my 18-year-old son is going to Romania next month to do missionary work. That's awesome. Well, Tessian in here is from Romania, so maybe if you got questions, you can reach out to him and see what he knows, what to look out for, the do's, the don'ts, all that kind of stuff. But Barracuda says virtue. Yes, they and scream. That's all they know how to do, because they don't know how to look at it, and they're unwilling, because they are so detached from reality, because they live in this fantasy land where if you can imagine it, it can be true. They are not able to deal with and grasp the realities of life, and that part of life is suffering. And through that suffering, you gain a purpose. It strengthens you so that you can build a better place. And I'm kind of starting to think that some of the ease of modernity is not so much building a better place as it is weakening us, making us lazy. It's crippling us in certain ways, which will certainly bring us to hard times in the future. Tracy James says, back in the day, I used to go to this little Cuban restaurant run by a family from Cuba. They escaped to communist hell in Cuba. The wife had a brother taken by force to be in the military. Yeah. I'm surprised. He would have been taken by force. If he tried to resist, though, he probably would have been killed. Roy Rush says, I'm worried for him, but he has his own path to follow, I guess. I'm not crazy over the idea. Yeah. It's missionary work is good work, though. I hope he does well. I hope he's safe and all of that. Let's see. Barracuda says, my daughter called me Hitler, so I bought a nice piece of nice new barbecue smoker with her college money. That's hilarious. Well, there's at this point, do something else with the kids' college money. Do not send them to college. They are going to they're going to come back these warped, indoctrinated individuals that are just going to hate you. You're going to pay to have your family broken up. Send them to a trade school. Save some money. Do so, or just tell them to go work. Get an apprenticeship, something like that. Already at the live editing here. Oh God, we got this Antifa person in here. Says, but you lot still crying about the election are really gripped. Yeah, we're not gonna get into this. You're banned, bitch. Banned. Antifa is banned. Fuck that. We're not going to let... Your name is Antifa. Fuck you. Get fucked. All right. Says they're kind of like Romanian. Okay, I think you guys are talking in the chat there. So, let's see. Now, this, again, so we were just talking a minute ago about how this eats away at their ability to contextualize anything. It turns them into these absolute messes. Just emotional messes, because they are so separated from reality. And we have this woman right here. This is hard to watch, because you want to laugh at her, but you also feel bad because the culture did this to her. Now, she didn't shore herself up against the culture, and everybody, we're not making excuses for people here, but listen to this chick.
I made a mistake. I opened up to somebody, and I don't think I will be doing that again. I told a close confidant that I was non-binary, and their response was, no, you are not. You are too pretty to be non-binary. Really? Really now? Suck my hickory dickory dong, Kevin. Sure, I may look like a personification of a porcelain doll and have the disposition of a fluffy bunny rabbit, but I am completely dead inside! I passed gallstones for a year and thought it was normal, and I've been stabbed before. At this point, death owes me money, God is terrified of me, and whatever doesn't kill me better start fucking running! I'm gonna look real pretty while I'm rearranging your fucking bones! I made a mistake.
The anger that these people have, we all deal with tough times. We all deal with sadness, but we do have some sort of moral obligation to have a deeper inner joy that we do get to experience the miracle of life. And we get so caught up in what's right in front of us that we don't realize what a miracle life is. I mean, when you really start to look at it at a cosmic level, the chances that first of all, I mean, just the chance that the universe even exists. I mean, we don't even understand that. It doesn't make any sense. It's the ultimate question that we cannot ever answer. But the fact that this, this galaxy expanded, there's a star system, and this planet was just the sun was just the right size, this planet was just the right bit around to house life. That in itself is a miracle. It is a astronomically low chance that happens. I mean, I actually do believe that there are other places out there just because of how massive and sprawling the universe is. But then when you think, I mean, even just you, I mean, the fact that we evolved from single cells and evolved into these structures where, two cells can come together and basically 3D print a living organism with the ability to think, that's fucking nuts. It is so difficult to wrap our heads around that we typically don't. So we do have some sort of moral obligation to be happy and thankful for our life, even if our life is tough. Find a way to make that difficulty a strength. Find a way to sharpen yourself through the difficult times so that you can have an appreciation when things get better. But it is the constant culture of despair that doesn't let people actually do that. They just wallow in it. They just wallow. We got Chelly Chell in here. What is up? What is up? I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, but that's how I'm going to say it. Chelly Chell says, it has to be exhausting being that angry and upset all the time and seeing misery no matter where you look. Yeah, it is. And we kind of have this culture where it's cool to complain. It's cool to be negative. It's cool to be cynical. And I think a lot of that cynicism actually came from Generation X. We don't get a whole lot. Gen X is kind of the forgotten generation, but they were always kind of in the 90s, that sort of cynical group. And it sort of planted that. I don't want to blame Gen X for cynicism, because cynicism, of course, has been around for a long time. But you think of that, like those movies from the 90s that all had kind of that cynical idea. But I cannot stand cynicism. I cannot stand it. And yes, it does have to be exhausting to be that angry and that bitter all the damn time. Bread Casket says, they're the emo goth kids from South Park. Yes, exactly. That shit ain't cool. Roy Rush says, but it was only a bolt of lightning striking a primordial swamp that started all life. But where did the lightning bolt come from? Where did the primordial swamp come from? No, you don't look at these questions because it is too much to wrap our heads around. And anything that we can't wrap our heads around, we have to be angry about, because we cannot believe that there is something bigger and greater than ourselves, and just be okay with it. Just be okay with knowing that the largest questions in the universe are always going to be questions. They're never going to be answers, at least not in this life, at least not in this world. We might die and immediately have all the answers. Who fucking knows? But the life is here, and it's best to make the most of it and to look at the bright side of things. Now, of course, that doesn't mean when you see issues, don't try to make things better, don't try to fix them. But when you have an overarching worldview of negativity, it is going to turn you into a rotten mess of a human being. Tracy James says, the only thing you leave behind after you go on is the deeds you did that inspired others and touched others, and it goes on. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there might be residual energy that you leave behind, but I mean, yeah, I guess that's really kind of part of it. So yeah. Barracuda says they are addicted. They need another Trump fix. Oh yeah, and we're going to be talking about the COVID stuff that I didn't get to on Tuesday, and we are going to find out that this TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, and the power greed of the establishment, it's looking like that cost millions of lives, because they they could not give Trump a win. I mean, if Trump was smart, he would have said the exact opposite of what he believed and just let them fulfill the course. It would have been maybe a better way, but at the end of the day, you also don't want to guide your country through the politics of opposite day. Let's see. Chelly Chell says, My parents always told me it takes more energy to be miserable than it does to be happy. Yes, it does. It just takes a little bit of emotional integrity to be happy. Tessina Rousseau says that shouldn't stop us from looking. It doesn't. No. It shouldn't stop us from looking at all. It shouldn't at all. But it shouldn't. But when you don't find an answer, you shouldn't fall in a pit of despair over it, and you shouldn't just give up and say, "Oh well, all that exists is what's in front of my eyes. All that exists is what sensorily affects me." There are greater things to this life, and yeah, we should always be looking into it. We should always be examining different things, but we don't want to. Well, anyways, let's go on to this next one. Because this is just really, really disturbing that this woman. Well, we'll see it. We'll talk after I play it. A little more live editing real quick. We got Slow Country in here. What's up, dude? Good to have you in here. Let's see. Let's see. These people are, Cello Cello says, these people are so unhappy with themselves and narcissistic, they need to think everyone else, they need everyone else to be unhappy as well. Oh, yeah, misery loves company. Misery definitely loves company. And these people are, it's funny because they're both simultaneously narcissistic and self-loathing. It really is. They have no humility. They live in this world where everything is sort of blasé. It's very blasé. That it's a culture of camp. It's a culture of irony. It's a culture of all of these things that are rooted in just sort of a whimsical disinterest of what actual truth is. And then they have the narcissism to believe they know the truth. But they deep down, these people know it. These people know. These people can feel it in their heart when they're wrong, but they have these egos that don't let them admit it. So listen to this woman right here. If it'll play.
Oh my god, guys. I'm freaking out. What am I gonna do? Just kidding, I already scheduled the appointment. I am what conservatives fear!
We don't fear you, we pity you, woman. We pity you that you look at human life with such disdain. Your own child. You sit there and you pretend to be upset. And then you say, oh no, I scheduled the abortion. I'm just going to go ahead and kill my baby, and then I'm going to drink alcohol. And it's all politics. It is all surface level politics. There's nothing spiritual or deep about this. She makes it all about conservatives. This is a team sport she's playing with her own child's life. That is why we do not fear you. We pity you. It is sad. It is disgusting, and you're going to have to answer to this one day. You're going to have to answer to this. And if you die having this worldview, your soul's not going anywhere good. Let's see. Denise Budnick says, gosh, finally got through, sort of buffering like crazy. Oh, shoot, sorry. I hope, is anybody else having that issue? I hope everything is going all right here. So, Cello says, wow, celebrating murder, so sad and disgusting. Exactly. But of course, they won't call it a murder because it is not a full-formed human that is right in front of them. Because they do have the shallowest understanding of reality. They do not, Tom McDonald has that line in People So Stupid. What is it? He says, so let me get this right. Bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't life on Earth? Weird. Yeah, exactly. That's how these people look at things. Because to them, it is all about political expedience. And as Vladimir Lenin said, There are no morals in politics, only expedience. So they use these things that should be serious and solemn issues, and they use them as jokes, as political leverage to steer the culture towards their belief system, which is really, I mean, almost no belief system at all. It's just basically sheer application of power and exertion of will, force of will. Robert Whaley says, don't dip your wick in crazy. No, not at all. Denise Budnick, what is up? So, hello, Ram and y'all Revved Up Nation. Yes, the Revved Up Rebel Nation. What is up? Roy Rush says Robert Wisdom, yeah. Slow Country says, what the hell is wrong with that woman? It would be a wonder if we face the consequences of our decisions. Take responsibility and face the consequence. Exactly, and that's why I said this just the other day. I mean, it was originally when I heard it applied to feminism, but it really applies to leftists in general. But modern day feminists, they want the power of men, the privilege of women, and the responsibility of neither. And back when I was more of a libertarian and not as conservative, I mean, I was always a right-leaning libertarian, but, I would hear Rush Limbaugh talk about how he thinks a lot of society went downhill when they created the abortion pill, or not the birth control, not the abortion pill, birth control, when they invented birth control. And the libertarian in me was like, well, that's nonsense. That's ridiculous. We should be able to be free, do whatever we want. Rush was right. Because it took one of the most sacred and primordial aspects of life and took the responsibility out of it. It made it solely about the hedonistic indulgences of that activity. And I think that has really deep-seated effects in both the psyche of the culture and the effects that we end up seeing. Now we have Planned Parenthood, which is essentially a baby mill, and I don't know if you guys saw that video about University of Pittsburgh and how they're doing all of this crazy, all of these crazy genetic experimentations using fetuses. And so Planned Parenthood is basically, they want you to abort your baby because then they are going to sell that fetal tissue to this demonic scientific research. Pierre Proudhon says, man is willing to obey the law. Man willing to obey the law of duty, serve his country, and oblige his friends, but he wishes to labor when he pleases, where he pleases, and as much as he pleases, to act from judgment, not by command. I guess that one might be a little deep for me, just not having a chance to really think on this one. Let's see. Willing to obey. So you're basically saying that he's willing to do what he's told, but then he doesn't want the responsibility. Everything just needs to be about what he pleases. Is that kind of what I'm getting out of that? Tessian Rousseau says, I'm not against abortions, but they shouldn't be done without some serious consideration. Their partner and doctor's input, and definitely never celebrated. No, they should never be celebrated. I mean, when you saw that Michelle Wolf, when she came out doing that like whole American, with the baton doing the whole America parade thing, and you get an abortion, yay, abortions. It's like, damn. You realize these are like, let's even just grant you the premise that they're not yet people. I don't believe that. They're still future people that you're killing off and you're celebrating. That is absolutely demonic. That is fucking demonic. We got Swamp House Frank in here. I think Swamp House Frank is new here. Says, America is supposed to be a country of strong and free people, not a bunch of weak, offended lunatics that allow their minds to be controlled by corrupt politicians. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why, as I'm getting into my 30s, I'm becoming more and more disillusioned with the trappings of modernity as a whole. That's why I'm starting to have some more controversial politics that seem like they do not that they would fit more in 1920 than 2020. Actually, we should probably go back before 1920 because Woodrow Wilson had already started the progressive era then. But a lot of the trappings of modernity, for one, the idea that We are a democracy. We have seen the way that our understanding of the world has shifted through modernity, and most of it has been for the bad. Most of it has led to the decadence and the decay in our society, and led to an absolutely degraded understanding of the great political experiment that was the United States of America. And we've gotten so far from that founding that it's almost unrecognizable. I mean, I don't think the founding fathers would recognize America today as the country that they started. That's why, I mean, there are two pieces of writing that are gospel: the Bible and the United States Constitution. Those two are, I mean, I wouldn't be so upset to see that Constitution as the I mean, it almost is, though, sort of the political implementation of the Bible. I mean, it's not theocratic in any sense, but it is inspired and informed by a Christian ethic, by a Christian worldview. Without Christianity, America doesn't exist. And we need to get back to some of the more old school principles. You know, I know one of the things that a lot of people rag on me is that I do think we need to repeal the 19th Amendment. I don't think women should have the right to vote. I think that is a trapping of modernity. And don't hear me, ladies, because I love you, and a lot of you, anyone who's in this chat, you're based. You are based. But you know, I should make a separate video on this, because this is I actually have a pretty thought out reason for this. But most of it, the big idea is that our Constitution was not written to enshrine democracy. It was written to enshrine liberty. And I'm not entirely sure that the inclusion of women in politics will survive, or that a free society will not survive the inclusion of women in politics. Primarily because, just look at the sexual difference. You know, women seek safety and security because they have that mothering aspect to them. They have that mothering nature. So if you want a free society, I don't know. I don't want to get into all this right now. I actually have a pretty lengthy, well-formed idea on all of this, but let me get into that later. But you know, when it comes down to it, though, a lot of based women out there, but y'all are outnumbered by a lot of lefty women. Y'all are way too outnumbered. And if the premise of the Constitution is to enshrine liberty and not democracy, which the founding fathers hated democracy, well, I'm going to go with the one that effectually defends freedom and liberty, not democracy. So, JG Mopar says, "Damn, I'm late and super straight." Hello. That's funny. 2021 is the time of no accountability. Yes, you are absolutely right, Tracy James. Let's see. You guys are awesome. You guys are all... the Revved Up Rebel Nation is like one big family in here. Fucking awesome. Let's see. Breadcast says, crazy how when you grow up and realize how much people like Russia are right about things, I was taught to hate him. Yeah, we were all taught to hate him. But... Charlie Cho would say, I would argue more for test for voting. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are other things, too. I mean, if you... I feel like my camera's about to... Oh, no, okay. I thought my camera was about to cut out. Like, maybe it is. Or maybe this is just lag. Hold on, let me see. Test for voting. Oh, we got people thumbs down. I knew some people were going to thumbs down when I started talking about that. But... yeah, I mean, test for voting would be one thing, sure. Another would be that if you are not paying into the system more than you are taking out of it, like if you are a welfare recipient, if you are somebody who is getting money, you cannot have a society where you are able to vote for the money of other people. You cannot have a society where you are able to vote for the dissolution of someone else's rights just for your protection. Your protection is your responsibility. And again, going back to the women idea, because most of the base women, most of the ones that are going to vote Republican, they're going to be mothers and family members. They're going to be wives. They're going to have a man in their lives that probably has some guns that's going to be able to protect them. But most of the feminists, single mothers, you know, or just single women, single cat ladies, cat moms, things like that, they don't have anybody else to provide that protection for them, because the sexual difference, the nature of men versus women, a man in generally speaking, will be able to overpower a woman. So the women are going to go for that safety every single time. And because we have the dissolution and the breakdown of the family structure, that is only going to engender more of that leftist voting within that block. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. It is not an opinion of mine. It is just doing the fucking math. Let's see. Bread Casket says, I actually agree with this. Make a vid for it. I will. I'm actually thinking about doing a video series. Maybe I'd put like one video out a week that I'd call Unpopular Politics, where I would take positions that cut against the evolutions of modernity. So one being the voting rights and that kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't own land. I don't own land. But if they wanted to pass a law that said only landowners can vote, those who have a vested interest and a stake of ownership in this country, only they can vote, I would say, you know what? I will sacrifice my right to vote because it is going to give us that sort of, it is going to give us the society that we want. Man, people are really thumbs down in my anti-democracy rant. Let's see. Yeah, and anybody else in here, hit a thumbs up if I'm not pissing you off too bad right now. See, Chelly Chell says people should have a vested interest in politics. Too many uneducated voters. I would love a vid on your views though. I do need to have it where I'm actually like thinking on it and structuring them, because when I'm just doing it live off the cuff like this, it's not going to be very well structured, and I'm not going to make the case very convincingly or very really put together a good argument. So. Deji Mopar says, my old boss and his relatives and friends would not let their wives vote. My ex-girlfriend got all pissed off and had a funny debate with them. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Well, because, when it was just men voting and we didn't have the breakup of the nuclear family unit, men voting, it was essentially a vote per family, not a vote per person. And that makes a little bit more sense because you have kind of each small governmental structure, the family, getting their say. But when you break that apart and you've got a society that is entirely atomized and doesn't have that support structure in their lives, they're naturally going to lean towards government to provide the support that they have not built in their lives themselves. That's going to happen. It's a hard truth. It's a tough reality. It is not all cuddles and rainbows, but it is truth. Let's see. Slow Country says, I would argue that we need to go back to old school learning, take governmental power out of the schools, and bring back fundamental classes that involve life skills and teaching critical thinking. Yes, we should teach kids how to shoot weapons. I mean, I think there was a time not too long ago they had rifle training in schools. You learned how to handle weapons. They had shop classes. You learned how to build things. Nobody needs 2 years of fucking algebra. If you're good at math, go down that path. But we need to specialize things a little bit more and work towards people's aptitudes and give them educations that are going to give them tool sets that they can take forward in life. Instead of you hate science, but here, take physics, take chemistry, take all this shit that you're never going to use in your life again. That is time that could have been spent learning to weld, learning to do woodworking, learning to do all different kinds of things. But no, that is not what we get in our current educational system. Let's see. JG Mopar says, it's your opinion, not why people should get butthurt. We are all different and have different views and opinions. Yes, we do. We do. And I welcome all views and opinions, unless you're a communist. Then I think you should be kicked out of the fucking country. Let's see, we got the Doll Hook. What's up, dude? Says universal suffrage was a mistake. Yes, because it degraded the idea that we are a constitutional republic, not a democracy. It absolutely degraded the idea that we are not... This country isn't about every single person getting a say in the direction of this country. This country was defined so that if the majority lose their fucking mind like we have today, then the Constitution will protect the rights of others. It protects the minority against the majority. But we are losing that, and we see the left. They want to get rid of even the Electoral College because they want this direct democracy. They want mob rule, and that is what direct democracy is. So that's why I get so pissed off, especially when I hear Republicans start talking about democracy. We can expect it from Democrats to push for the dissolution of the Republic for democracy, but we need Republicans to push for the Republic against democracy. Let's see. Swamp House Frank says, I love women and call me old-fashioned, but women don't bring in politics. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's true. And it's because you have to accept, it's another of the trappings of modernity, the rise of feminism, where we view men and women as interchangeable, that their parts in society are one and the same. And if you reject that notion of modernity and understand sexual difference and understand how hormonal differences change and shape different worldviews, behaviors, and decision-making processes, then you can understand why it is not necessarily the best idea to have the ones that are always seeking safety and security determining the direction of a country that was designed to be based out of liberty and freedom. Because all liberty will be sacrificed. Anytime you try to enhance safety and security, it's going to cost you in liberty. It's going to. So, let's see. Chris Maxey, what's up, dude? You might be new in here. It says, all liberals are retarded. They get upset with the truth. I took shop and gun safe class. I have never shot anyone. Why this is not a liberal? Yes, exactly. So again, I hope, I'm not trying to offend anybody with these rants about why I don't think women belong in politics. And it really, it's not an insult, because women have been taken out of the places where they are so fit to be, where they are so good, where they provide so much value to this country or to society, to the world. But they've been told to shun that. They've been told to be men. And if that's not disrespectful towards women, I don't know what is. JG Mopar says, I learned to shoot when I was 6 years old. First rifle I shot was an M1 Garand, and I had to have help holding it. It scared me, but I fell in love with firearms. Exactly. Let's see. All right, we got Oxymoron. Oh, we got another troll in here. Ban him. Oxymoron 45. That guy's a fucking douche. Let's see. Barracuda says, teach the kids argument fallacy and this ends fast. Yeah, exactly. Teach them how to spot fallacies and arguments and to think critically and apply the Socratic method to things. And yeah, they will not. They won't be caught in the same trappings that everybody else is. Let's see. Born a Hawkeye. Man, we got some new ones in here today. Born a Hawkeye says, laughing. Facts, though. Yeah, I know. I'm triggering some motherfuckers today. I am triggering some of these people. But I see a lot of people in here are agreeing with me. I know some of you guys probably don't, and that's okay. That's okay. As long as you're not a fucking communist, then it's okay to disagree. But let's see. Barracuda says, in general, there are always exceptions for women. Oh, yeah, there always are. Nothing is a steadfast rule. And nothing we ever talk about on this channel, other than our hatred for communists, is a steadfast 100% always applied rule. They are generalities, not universalities. But generalities have application to them. Generalities have application to them, and you don't need to look at everything as a universality. You don't have to look at everything as if there are no exceptions to the rule. Every rule has its exceptions. Let's see. Born a Hawkeye says, been shooting guns since 10 unsupervised. Based parents. So, anyways, we have gotten way off track right here. I was going to try to get to the news earlier today, but of course, talking to you guys, I have too much fun talking to you guys, and hold on, let me see. I got one last Clown World story, and then I got something to show you from Barracuda that made something in here. It's fucking awesome. But anyways, so sick. This demented woman thrusts a dildo at a pastor's 13-year-old daughter outside drag queen brunch marketed to kids, and police laugh. All of this drag queen stuff, it's being targeted and marketed and promoted to your kids for a reason. It is not some innocent thing that is being promoted to your kids. It is being done to corrupt your children and to wrest away any sort of control and ability to shape your child's life that you may possibly have. They are trying to override you. They are trying to undermine you. They are trying to sell out your position in your child's life. Oh shoot, where'd all the, I had highlighted. Oh, well, let's see. So a 13-year-old girl was sexually harassed by an unhinged woman attending a drag queen story hour event in Ohio. The police appeared to think that the situation was funny. The woman was taunting the Christian protesters outside the Drag Me to Brunch held at the Sorg Opera House in Ohio. The event was advertised as free to children under 5 and $10 for children age 6 through 17. According to a shocking report from Kim Coulter at the National File, an attendee of the event appeared to use drugs and was waving an oversized, realistic male genitalia-shaped sex toy sticking out of her pants at a 13-year-old girl. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. The girl was the daughter of Pastor John Williams, who frequently protests these events that target children. Yes, they are targeting children. When asked to leave the child alone, the LGBT ally appeared to make sexual gestures towards the child and insist that she is legally permitted to speak to the child with an oversized sex toy hanging out of her pants. Williams then attempted to notify police on the scene, who were shooting the breeze down the block instead of watching the protesters, who were clearly being antagonized by attendants of the Drag Me to Brunch event. One officer seemed to mock Williams while another quietly laughed. I mean, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm no longer back in the blue. I'm really starting to get there because we are seeing this time and time again. I mean, we see that they're getting to the point where the cowardice of modernity is certainly being represented in the application of the rule of law. I mean, we've seen that. Kyle Rittenhouse gets charged with first-degree murder in what was clearly self-defense. And I am not hopeful. I mean, I'm hopeful, but I'm not confident that he is actually going to be acquitted of those charges, because I think that the mob is going to, just like with Derek Chauvin, they are going to intimidate the juries. They're going to threaten to burn down the communities if they do not sacrifice Kyle Rittenhouse on the altar of the woke gods. And because we have a culture of cowardice, they're going to do it. I want to be on that. I wish I could be on that jury. I would come burn down my house. Come fuck around and find out. Come find out what happens. Born a Hawkeye says, I agree. I don't back the blue if they're going with unconstitutional measures. Yes, if you are an oath breaker, which is what the cowardice is tending towards law enforcement to become, they're becoming oath breakers. I do not support or respect that. JJ Mopar says, probably a Democrat-run shithole. The cops there are probably just for a paycheck. Yeah, I mean, most of them are just there for a paycheck. They're there for a paycheck, and they're just there to do what they're told. They're intellectually lazy. They'll never actually look at the application of the rule that they are enforcing. They will just say, oh, I'm getting paid to do this, so I'm going to do it. Yeah, they don't care about the oath of office. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care what the laws are. If they're told to go make an arrest, they're going to make the arrest. Let's see. All right, now we got this Barracuda. Please stand up. Barracuda made this video. This is you did a great job on this. So let's go ahead and play this. We got Thirsty Boy in here, the latest and the gayest. Welcome, True Grave. Good to have you in here. Anyways, guys, this was made by Barracuda. First time I've had somebody from the Revved Up Rebel Nation send something that they made in. If y'all do something like this, send it on in to me. Ram Thorburn at protonmail.com. So, let's see. We'll go ahead and play this. Is our country safe with Sloppy Joe in charge?
Mr. President, an unidentified missile, origin Turkey, detonated over Soviet Donetsk at 0530 Zulu. It was not fired by U.S. forces. The Soviets have chosen to launch a strike against us.
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true.
Sir, I know it's hard to believe. Nevertheless, we are in the secondary stages of a Soviet counterforce strike. Our computers show random attack by Russian submarines, swarm attack by land-based ICBM. We need your authority, sir.
Hillary Clinton is as qualified or more qualified than I am.
We need the codes, Mr. President.
3-0, 3-3-0, 3-0, 3-3-0, or 303, 3-3-0.
I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
There's no time for that, sir. We need your authority for the codes, Mr. President.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
We are under attack.
Go, you know.
You're wasting time, sir. Your own.
I'm beginning to see why your wife left you.
Man, Barracuda, awesome job on that. Awesome job on that, Barracuda. Everybody give a shout out to Barracuda. That was fucking hilarious. The end part, though, is a little sobering. It sobers you up and realizes that the comedy can have very devastating results when we're talking about our potato-in-chief, Joe Biden. And, he's going to be meeting with Pootie Poot soon. And, God, like I said, what I would pay to be a fly on the wall in that room, seeing Joe Biden try to stand up to Vladimir Putin. He is going to be sitting there shitting his britches in front. I don't mean like scared shitting his britches. I mean like he can't control his bowels shitting his britches. I heard that he actually does have to wear diapers, so who knows if that's true or not, but Jesus Christ. Yeah, Barracuda says dark ending, yeah. Is that a prediction? Let's hope not. Let's hope it's for a dramatic effect and not a real prediction. We don't want that to happen. But, we can't have a whole lot of faith that Joe Biden is going to know how to deal with these more dangerous powers in the world, especially when a lot of them have fucking dirt on him. They got dirt on the dude. Tracy James says loser Joe is going to get bitch slapped. Yeah, it's going to be rough. Anyways, guys, we're going to go into the intermission, and I will be back in just a moment with the news.
Every time who I am, well, how can I'm a man, 6 shooters in both my hands. I'm a cold-blooded brother, a real bad mother. Watch out, honey, here I am.
Yeah, JG Moparo says Joe is just there for the visuals. He's not in charge. Oh, yeah, he's a puppet. He's a puppet. They just wanted somebody in there that they knew that they could put basically the old Barack Obama regime in there, and he'll do what they say. Exactly. Born a Hawkeye. If Trump's son did anything like his child done, his gun would be taken away in prison. UD in prison. The double standards is what blatantly terrifies me. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The double standards. But with the left, if it wasn't for double standards, they wouldn't have any at all. Because for them, it is not about actual application of the rule of law. It is not actually about the application of a standard. It is solely about using the force of will to overcome your opposition. It's might makes right. That is what they believe. That is their guided worldview, is might makes right. So they're not actually worried about standards. They have no standards. They don't have them. Yeah. But anyways, let's get into the news a little bit, because we're going to talk about Joe Biden's nominee for the ATF. Now, again, we've talked many times about how Barack Obama weaponized all of the 3-letter agencies of our government: the FBI, the DOJ, all the 3-letter agencies, the IRS. I mean, we all know what happened with the IRS. I mean, really, even the ATF under Barack Obama with the Fast and Furious scandal. I mean, they were running guns and favors for the cartels. It was absolutely fucked up. But so his nominee, David Chipman, and I mean, look at this guy. This guy looks he looks like a comic book villain. He looks like a comic book villain. He looks like a Red Skull type comic book villain. Really weird. He almost looks like he exists in the uncanny valley. And if you're not familiar with the uncanny valley, it's a term. So anybody remember the movie Polar Express? Polar Express, it didn't do very well because it weirded people out, because it looked too real to be animated, but too animated to be real. And that is the uncanny valley. And that David Chipman almost looks like he exists in the uncanny valley. There's something that just doesn't look human about him. There's something that doesn't look natural about him. It's really fucking weird. I don't know what it is, whether it's his big fucking face, his bone structure, his fucking big-ass teeth. I don't know what it is, but he looks like he lives in the uncanny valley. Chipman can get bent still better than Lon Horiuchi, though. I don't know Lon Horiuchi. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But, yeah, fucking David Chipman he fucking looks weird. He looks like a goddamn movie cartoon villain. JG Mopar says more teeth than a dog fight. Yeah, I know. Chelly Cello says I emailed my senators using a letter someone else with great writing skills created and asked them not to approve this idiotic nominee. No. Here's the thing. I don't think he's idiotic. I think he's evil. And for too long, you always hear Ben Shapiro. I'm not going to go on a Ben Shapiro rant. I'm not a huge fan of Ben Shapiro. But he would always say, never attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence. No, we cannot apply that standard anymore. Not with what we're seeing from the left. It is not. I cannot attribute incompetence instead of malice when I see how malicious these people are. They have lost that goodwill. They have lost that good faith. So President Joe Biden's radically pro-gun control nominee to lead the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives confirmed Wednesday when pressed by Republican senators that he supports a ban on a wide range of so-called assault-style weapons, which include more rifles than just the AR-15. And you're going to see what he calls an assault weapon here in just a minute. It's absolutely get fucked. David Chipman, a longtime gun control lobbyist with more than 2 decades experience working for the ATF, faced questions from several Senate Judiciary Committee Republicans on his views on guns, admitting to Senator Ted Cruz that he supports a ban on AR-15 rifles and would enforce such a ban if Congress were to legislate one. He would be pissing his pants. He would be so fucking excited. So fucking excited he would wet himself to see an AR-15 ban that he would get to implement. So, I'm just going to go ahead and play the video. I'm not going to read and then repeat it in the video. So here. If it'll play. Hold on, I'm having some issues here. There we go.
Mr. Chipman, a minute ago, Senator Whitehouse asked you if any of your views on guns are out of step with the majority of the American people. The AR-15 is one of, if not the most popular rifle in America. It's not a machine gun. It's a rifle. Your public position is that you want to ban AR-15s. Is that correct?
Senator, thank you for the question, and thank you for our visit yesterday and offering me a Dr. Pepper. It made me reminisce about my time in Central Texas. But now to your question. With respect to the AR-15, I support a ban as has been presented in a Senate bill and supported by the President. The AR-15 is a gun I was issued on ATF's SWAT team, and it's a particularly lethal weapon. And regulating it as other particularly lethal weapons, I have advocated for. As ATF director, if I'm confirmed, I would simply enforce the laws on the books, and right now, there is no such ban on those guns.
So you want to ban the most popular?
He's about as articulate as Merrick Garland, too. Notice how every other word is He can't string his sentences together because he's constantly trying to look for the words to best tap dance around the questions and do the least amount of damage to his candidacy. But he talks about, let's see, where was that segment? There was something, oh yeah, he's talking about the lethality of the AR-15. He says it's a particularly lethal gun. What is the purpose of a gun that is not lethal? What is the utility of a weapon that is not lethal? That is what weapons are intended to do. They are intended to have the ability to kill and to do so better than anybody who might be trying to cause you harm. So to sit there and talk about how the lethality of the weapon is why it needs to be banned is completely missing the entire premise and purpose of the Second Amendment, and that is who Joe Biden wants out there heading the department that is essentially set in place to violate our Second Amendment rights. That's what the ATF is there to do. The ATF is there to violate our constitutional rights. And so Senator Tom Cotton asks, so what is an assault weapon? He tries to press him on what does this assault weapon mean? And this is where it gets really alarming.
I want to turn to a second matter now, Mr. Chipman. You have called for an assault weapons ban. I have a simple question for you. What is an assault weapon?
Senator, an assault weapon would be, in the context of the question you asked, what Congress defines it as.
He's clearly trying to dodge the question. He's clearly trying to make his own personal views not the centerpiece of the testimony, the confirmation hearing, where it's supposed to be about what his personal views are. He's obfuscating.
So you're asking us to ban assault weapons. We have to write legislation. Can you tell me what is an assault weapon? How would you define it if you were the head of the ATF? How have you defined it over the last several years as your role as a gun control advocate?
Senator, if I'm confirmed as ATF director, my recollection is the only process by which ATF has weighed in is that I know there's a demand letter 3 program, which requires multiple reports, multiple sale reports on the southwestern border. And ATF in that program has defined an assault rifle as any semi-automatic rifle capable of accepting a detachable magazine above the caliber of .22, which would include a .223, which is, largely the AR-15 round.
So you believe that every weapon that takes a detachable magazine that can take a .22 round or .556 in military parlance should be defined as an assault weapon?
Let me clarify. What I believe I just said is any semi-automatic rifle.
Okay, any semi-automatic rifle.
What?
That's the definition. A detachable magazine that takes a .556 or .22 round should be defined as an assault weapon.
Senator, you asked me if ATF had used this term, and I was sharing with you my knowledge of a program in which ATF has defined this term. And it is in the Demand Letter 3 program, and that rifle is a semi-automatic rifle capable of accepting a detachable magazine with a round greater than a .22 caliber. And in those cases, firearms dealers on the southwest border are required to make a multiple sale report to ATF.
I'm amazed that might be the definition of assault weapon. That would basically cover every single modern sporting rifle in America today. Let me put it this way. If I wanted to buy an assault weapon, and I walked into Walmart or Cabela's or some other firearm dealers, and I looked up on the wall where they were labeling their weapons, would there be a label on the wall for assault weapon?
I don't believe, Senator, and thank you for this question, that the firearms industry has used the term assault rifle in their marketing since there was a ban on it. It was after that they changed their use of the term assault rifle to the modern sporting rifle.
Well, so I've been in Walmarts and I've been in Cabela's, and I've seen that you can find sections for pistols or handguns or for shotguns or for rifles because those are actual kinds of firearms. I think our exchange here illustrates that there really is no such thing as an assault weapon. That is a term that was manufactured by liberal lawyers and pollsters in Washington to try to scare the American people into believing that the government should confiscate weapons that are wildly popular for millions of Americans to defend themselves and their families and their homes.
I mean, Tom Cotton did a great job right there of grilling him. But can you believe that is what he said? And again, he tries to obfuscate and not put the onus of responsibility for that definition on himself. He puts it off on this other section within the ATF, which if the ATF is defining an assault weapon as any semi-automatic magazine-loaded rifle over .22 caliber, that's nuts. That's nuts. That basically means the only guns you can have might be able to kill a rat. So, and Tom Cotton's right. The entire definition of an assault weapon, assault rifle, anything like that, it is just to scare people. It is scare tactics because they know that we will never be able to defend ourselves with a .22. They know we won't. And they want to take our weapons away. They talk about, oh, it's for hunting. It's, you don't need, or what was it? Joe Biden came out and said, what are you afraid the deer are going to shoot back or something? Why do you need more than 10 rounds? Or do you think the deer are going to be wearing Kevlar? Bitch, the Second Amendment is not for hunting. It is not for sporting. It is for defending ourselves against a tyrannical government, the type that would try to take our guns away, and a type that would implement an ATF that would look to take away anything more than a fucking varmint gun. Because that's what a .22 is. It's a varmint little pea shooter. It's a cap gun. Let's see. So I said There's somebody named Corn Pop in here. It says, nobody's coming for your gun. Stop whining. I just banned him. I don't know. He might have been being sarcastic. I don't know. But he named himself Corn Pop, so he's probably just off fighting Joe Biden with a switchblade somewhere. Let's see. Bread Casket says, yes, Corn Pop in the house. Do you know Corn Pop? Did I just ban somebody unduly? Was he just joking and being sarcastic? I don't. If I don't know you and your first thing that you come in here is sarcasm, I don't know your tone well enough to know what you're actually saying. Let's see. Constitutional assaultist. Let's see. JG Mopar says he has a face that looks so nice to punch. I mean, there's just something really, really off about his appearance. There's something really, really weird about him. He looks like he lives in that uncanny valley where he's almost like he looks like he's part robot. He looks like he's part like he's a robot underneath all that. He's the Confiscata Bot 5000. Let's see. They would say join the military if you want an assault rifle. Yeah, well, I know. And then they try to say that, oh, the Second Amendment only applies to the military and to militias. Get fucked. No, it doesn't. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And a well-regulated militia being necessary for for the security of a free country, that is a qualifying clause. The operational clause is the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And even in states that have concealed carry permits, that is an infringement upon our Second Amendment rights because it says the right to keep and bear arms. We need constitutional carry. We need over 50 states. This needs to be a Supreme Court case. We need constitutional carry, no more concealed carry permits, no more permits to get any weapons. We need to repeal the National Firearms Act. We need to stop having to register weapons with the ATF. None of this bullshit. Broadcasting is particularly lethal. What a joke. Yeah, because it's... Man, we've got the trolls in here today, man. They are thumbs downing. Well, guess what? Get fucked. Keep thumbs downing. You're still helping my metrics. You just became a fan, you fucking... Never mind, I'm not gonna... JG Mopar says, I have some elk and bison to cook up, but I will be listening. All right, well, damn, that sounds... You'll be eating better than me today. You'll be eating better than me. Zach Horton says, this clown gets to me. Yeah, I mean, there's something about David Chipman that just really... Especially when you know about his role in Waco... We need to print up some David Chipman paper targets. Let's see, JG Mopar. It's been time. I want to get back to Iowa and eat some backstraps with the seasoned salt and buttered grilled meat. Man, you guys are making me hungry. All right, guys, I'm done. I gotta go cook some meat now. Let's see. DeReal says, "Idiot." I don't know who. I'm not sure whether that's directed towards me. I don't know whether that's directed toward... I don't know who that's directed towards. Let's see. Barracuda says you can keep the lefties in for us to poop on. Sure, I'll keep it. It's distracting because I'm trying not to read a bunch of fucking bullshit trolling. Apollo Man says literally the worst activist type troll is being appointed to every important position. Yeah, because they are trying to weaponize our three-letter agencies. They are trying to turn them into activistic agencies that are there to derail the constitutional direction of this country. They're trying to turn this into an unconstitutional legal system that doesn't have any set of standards that are based on the founding of this country or what is actually in the law. They're going to corrupt, bastardize, and they're like acid on metal. I mean, it just degrades it. It corrodes it. They're corroding our entire legal system. Border Hawkeye said, "You said Waco. I'm done." Yeah, exactly. Oh, Gareth Hasty, what's up, dude? Says, if you don't have haters, you need to up your game. Oh, I know. I'm a small channel, so I don't know how they find me. Dorell says, not trolling, bro. Big fan here. I call the trolls idiots. I figured so. I remember you being in here before, so I didn't ban you. Good to have you back in here. Yeah, Apollo Man says revved up rebels. Yes, we're the revved up rebel fucking nation. Andrew Ortiz, what is up, dude? Says, come on, man. You sound like Joe Biden. Come on, man. You know everything has gotten better with Biden in office. I'm putting this here in case I get cast or something. Andrew, you're awesome, dude. You're hilarious. But yeah, so David Chipman, there was also, I thought I had this article up, but I guess I maybe accidentally closed it out. He was also asked about law-abiding citizens, and because they were saying, well, what about law-abiding gun owners? And he goes on and says, well, law-abiding gun owners can also be criminals. They can become criminals. And that is that sort of mindset, that sort of protectionist, everything is about your safety. Trade in your liberty for your safety because we do not trust anybody. You could end up possibly, maybe, we have no evidence, but you could maybe possibly one day, eventually, something might click and you do something bad. So we're going to go ahead and stop that and take away all your guns now. Get fucked. Get fucked. We cannot have a society that distrusts everybody so fucking much. It's that cynicism. It's that cynicism that I was talking about earlier. That cynicism will put everybody on the defensive, and it will leave everybody thinking about their safety, security, and not about their liberty. You know, that is why I'm not a fan of cynicism. I'm not a just everything sunshine and roses either. I get that. But when you have this totally cynical worldview where you just assume the worst out of everybody, where you assume that everybody is out to get you, where you assume that everybody is against you, you are always going to end up with a society that is on the defensive, and the defensive are always going to choose safety and security over liberty, and that is why cynicism is terrible for this fucking country. And yet it is what dominates all of our entertainment, all of our media. It's all so fucking cynical. These people need Jesus. Born a Hawkeye says pre-crime. Exactly. It's pre-crime-esque, except they don't even have the precogs. They just assume. They just make assumptions about what you might maybe could do. This could possibly happen, so we need to take this measure. That's why I'm never a fan of preemptive legislation to stop things that could happen that you have no evidence will happen. You know, if somebody commits a crime, the law enforcement system is not supposed to be preventative. It's supposed to be reactionary. You're supposed to react to crimes that are committed. You're supposed to solve crimes that are committed and lock away people that commit crimes. You are not supposed to set up an entire legal framework built around the premise of taking away people's rights so that crimes don't happen. You know, that's part of the whole emotional shallowness, the low emotional IQ of the left, is that they cannot deal with the fact that life is not always going to be It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. You're going to have struggle. You're going to have despair. You're going to have suffering. You have to learn to be okay with some of that. You have to learn to look past the misery, look past the despair. It's really, really dangerous to have that cynicism in our society and in our culture. And of course, somebody was talking about Donald Trump, if Don Jr. got in any of the same trouble that Hunter Biden did. Well, now the ATF will not release information about Hunter Biden's guns because of substantial privacy interests. That is what we're talking about, the double standards and the uneven application of the rule of law. This is clearly political protectionism. We know that if it was Donald Trump Jr., the ATF would have released whatever the fuck they could to take him down and make Trump look bad. I'm not even going to read this article because really the headline says it all. We don't really give a shit. All we need to know is that, yeah, they're going to protect Hunter Biden. They're going to protect Hunter Biden. Now, I've got this one story. Actually, hold on. These I didn't really have a good place to work them into the show, but I wanted to put them in here because we all know what's going on with the audits. And Rachel Maddow has been having some hilariously awesome meltdowns about this, and it is great to see when Rachel Madcow is having an emotional breakdown. When Rachel Maddow is an emotional mess and tearing up and crying and howling at the moon, we know that something is good in this world. So let's see. Oh, where's the video? Is it gonna load? Hold on, I'm having internet issues, ladies and gentlemen. I'm having some internet issues. Why is this not loading? Here we go. Wait, what the hell? Went to a whole nother article. Give me just a second, guys. Let's see if I can get this figured out. Technical difficulties. Let's see. Border Hawkeye says... All right, hold on. Here we go. All right, it's gonna take a second. Let me just play this one here on Rumble. It is from Steve Bannon's War Room.
Stop the steal scam here, and then stop the next.
Oh, come on.
One there and stop the next one there. It's not working. Working.
Okay, it's not working. It's not working. My computer's not working. Holy shit. Let me see what's going on here. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties.
This just up to state elections officials playing whack-a-mole to try to, stop the steal scam here and then stop the next one there and stop the next one there. It's not working.
What's going on?
Is there a federal response that should happen here to address this issue nationwide that sets standards, that creates clear rules and clarifies the existing clear rules around this stuff? Is there a federal response that could be mounted here to block these privately run, privately funded third-party audits from happening in the first place? If not, if there's no national response to it, I'm telling you, this thing is a runaway train. Watch this space.
So, of course, she's calling for the federal government, Big Daddy government, come in and get the results that I want. The federal government has no constitutional jurisdiction to intervene in a state-run election, and that is why we see that
Arizona, because of patriots. And patriots, all the grundoons, all the hobbits, all the deplorables, understand one thing. Back at the railhead of the misinformation campaign of the progressive left, Rachel Maddow, okay, the den mother, because she's the big brain, okay? Last night, that look of worry in her eyes, right? They knew that they went to court. A judge wouldn't stop them.
The great inoculator.
The great inoculator. They're trying to get ahead of the story, and she didn't even know where to go. Here's the beauty of it, ladies and gentlemen. MSNBC, with all the resources, did not have a package ready to go. Did not have a package ready to go. She gave a 2-minute, you could tell. She's just up there, no script, just throwing stuff out, right? And they're worried. And she goes, they're going to use this in the future. You were damn right. Write that down, because we're going to have the receipts.
There's no inoculation against what we're doing right here.
You can't inoculate against truth.
This is truth.
You can't inoculate
this is
against
fact.
truth. You can't.
This is science. This is data.
This is evidence-based, data-based, science-based. MSNBC.
And then this next video here, you're going to see she's talking about...
I will tell you, this Arizona story, like I said, I did not expect this to reveal the truth of the 2020 election, and he's still maintaining this fantasy that he somehow won and that Joe Biden isn't really the president anymore. He's not the legitimate president. What the Arizona Republicans are doing here, this process by which they are bastardizing the actual secure election from November 2020, and they're going to produce some result that says that it was some other fraudulent thing, will be used by the Trump part of the Republican Party and the Trump right to cast doubt on the 2020 election among their most fervent supporters in a way that none of their failed lawsuits in the past have been able to do. They got the actual ballots and they handed them to conspiracy theorists who say that, QAnon is the mastermind or whatever it is that stopped this, that they need to use to stop the steal and all. I mean,
this bitch has no idea what she's talking about. Shit, I'm lagging, guys. Fuck. Is it still lagging? Yeah, it probably is. This is actually probably YouTube derailing me right here. This one I'm not so sure, because I normally, if my latency goes down, if my stream starts going down on my end, it'll come up with an alert and tell me. So if it's lagging, that looks like it probably is on YouTube. But they're already trying to get ahead of this. They are already trying to butter the people up. They are trying to get ahead of the story of the Arizona election, because I think they know what is going to be coming. So they're already starting to discredit it. They're trying to discredit it so that when it comes out, people have already dismissed it and it doesn't have the impact that it needs to have. But we all know. I mean, anybody who just look at the processes for how they changed the election. Just read their own fucking words from Time Magazine. YouTube gave me a strike for my video where I read the Time Magazine article. It was their own words. It was them talking to insiders who were setting up the whole fortifying of the election. I was reading their own fucking words, and YouTube censored me for it. But yeah, Rachel Maddow, she is up there trying to discredit this. I got a feeling we are going to see a lot more of this in the near future. Before we even get real results from Arizona, they're already going to be coming out. They're going to be saying, "Oh, it was a third-party thing. It's not official. It doesn't mean anything." Well, good. I hope you're entertained by this Arizona audit because it doesn't mean anything. Bull fucking shit. This is an official audit being sanctioned by the Arizona Senate. This is the What was what's the company? I forget the Cyber Ninjas. They were hired by the U.S. Not the U.S. Senate, the Arizona Senate, a legislative body, to conduct this audit. And it is more than just a fucking recount of the ballots that were already run through the machines. This is a forensic audit. They're recording everything. Everything is on the up and up with this. But they're going to come out and they're going to try to discredit it before people even have a chance to look at it. Jason James says YouTube SO. Yes, YouTube is SO. Absolutely. It might be that my computer is SO too. Robert Whaley says, has anyone seen Rachel Madcow or Stephen Colbert in the same place at the same time? Makes you wonder. Well, haven't seen her and Michael Knowles in the same place either. Now, I love Michael Knowles, though. I'm not a huge Daily Wire guy, but I really like Michael Knowles a lot. I think he is based, and I think he's kind of like me in that he's rejected a lot of the trappings of modernity. So, Born a Hawkeye says, I doubt it was your computer. That shit happened as soon as you started talking about what you were about to play and the algorithm kicked in. Yeah, probably. Although my computer is pretty old, and it does get a little dysfunctional on me at sometimes. Now, this is a story. It's just a standalone story here, but I think it was pretty important to cover. And we got to talk about China. We got to talk about China. We got to talk about China and their dedication to the big guy, or the big guy's dedication to China, because we have this Clinton administration. So this is going to show you how far back this Chinese infiltration of America and American institutions and the spying goes, and how our neoliberal, neoconservative establishment just opened the doors wide open for a communist regime to walk right in, steal our technology, learn everything they needed to learn from us, and then take it back to enhance their position in the globe, to enhance their power in the global stage. Let's see. True Grave says, am I going to hell for watching this? Probably. You might already be going there anyways. Come on. Party up. You're already going there anyways. I'm just kidding. Let me see here. Darrell says, no, you're on the righteous path. Yes. Yes. Let's see. So let's go ahead and read this story, because this is really going to show you if this is how things were all the way back in the Clinton administration. Now, I've said time and time again that I think the opening up of China was actually the experimental. It was the breeding ground for the one world government style. They were opening up China to try to perfect their formula for how a global government would operate. And China is that model. I've said that time and time again on this channel. And this is why I think it was, the Henry Kissingers, the Clintons, the globalists of the world opened us up to China, opened us up to us, and then now we are losing ground to them on the world stage. So they dig deeper. The worse it the deeper we dig, the worse it gets. The infiltration of critical Department of Defense and related civilian research programs by Chinese Communist Party and People's Liberation Army scientists began in the 1990s. The infestation is now extensive. Some return to China with the most advanced knowledge and techniques, but many are still in the United States, funded by taxpayers. The following is only the tip of the iceberg. Some of those invited to the U.S. military facilities, like Liang Ming Lu and Dai Xingping, were clearly identified as PLA officers, People Liberation Army. Other CCP scientists and PLA officers hid their backgrounds. So they lied on the forums. We didn't look into who they were because, frankly, we didn't care. So no one in the Clinton administration bothered to check. Jinning Huan, a.k.a. Jinning Zun, lists his educational institution as the Shanghai Second Medical University. It is actually the second military medical university of the People's Liberation Army. Jinning Huan, eventually landed in the laboratory of Dr. Alan Z. Zhu at the University of Pittsburgh. And I talked earlier about the University of Pittsburgh and all the fucked up shit they do there. So we do not know the full background of Dr. Zhu, but he has since returned to China at the School of Biomedical and Pharmaceutical Sciences, Guangdong University of Technology. So they are coming here. They are stealing our technology. They are taking it back to China, and they are handing it over to the Chinese Communist Party. The educational background of Guoping Li is unclear, but she held a permanent position at Bell Northern Research Limited in Canada before accepting a temporary research position studying advanced laser technologies under the U.S. Army program that brought the PLA officers to the U.S. Army Medical Research and Material Command. We should not be granting any sort of scientific military. If you're coming from China, in fact, I think we have got to wean ourselves off of the communist Chi-Com teat, so that we can implement a Cuban-style embargo on China. They are a paper tiger. They would not really exist without us, but they are going to metastasize their CCP into all of our institutions, and they're basically going to take over. You see what they're doing in Hollywood. You know, we saw John Cena come out groveling with China the other day. They don't need to create their own Hollywood. All they need to do is buy their way into ours to basically make it the CCP Hollywood. That's what's happening. They do not actually need to build. That is how you go from a paper tiger to an actual tiger. When you take a world powerhouse and you corrupt their institutions and you subvert them and you essentially steal them from the country and make them your own. Because the CCP, these fucking Chi-Coms, they are slippery fucks. They are slippery as shit. They're not to be trusted. You couldn't trust them as far as you could throw them, which, you know, maybe is a little bit, maybe that's a little bit further than you should trust them. But Robert Whaley says China is the virus. Yes, China is the virus. Absolutely. Absolutely. So it is unclear why Guoping Li is wearing a U.S. Army uniform while studying advanced laser technologies at the U.S. Army Medical Research Detachment in San Antonio, Texas, or what happened to her afterwards. There is Guoping Li now working for the Chinese space program using laser technologies for radio telescopes. Under the same Pentagon program, the Clinton administration recruited Cheng Yong Lao and Cheng Xing Zhang immediately prior to becoming an employee at the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. Cheng Yong Lao, it's hard with all these Chinese names because they all sound the fucking same. It's hard to really... It just kind of ends up getting lost in the fray. So Cheng Yuan Lo worked at the Institute of Pharmacology and Toxicology Academy of Military Sciences in Beijing, an element of China's chemical warfare program. For more than 10 years at Walter Reed, Cheng Yuan Luo studied issues related to chemical warfare, including direct collaboration with the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute at Chemical Defense at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. Why? How was this allowed to happen? 50 years of a fucking Cold War, and we invite the fucking Chinese communists into our research labs, into our medical... into our military research labs, giving them all of our technology. I mean, this is beyond fathomable. I think that there need to be Americans that let this happen that need to fucking go to prison for this. After leaving Walter Reed in 2012, Cheng Yuan Lo became a patent examiner for the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, covering the areas of his expertise. He actually went and worked for the Patent Office, where he had the ability to look over all of the technology that was being put in to be patented. You really think that how did you not see that this is a fucking Chinese spy? How do you not fucking see that? How fucking stupid do you have to fucking be? I mean, this is insane. This is insane. You let them go to the U.S. Military Research Chemical Defense at Aberdeen, and then you send them to the Patent Office? What the fuck did you think this person was up to? They are probably back there in China right now, laughing their skinny little asses off. Oh, they're so stupid. I cannot believe they fell for that. They let me on the chemical research base, and then I even got to go to the patent office. Haha, America's so stupid. Fuck. JG Mopar says China is asshole. God damn, yes they are. And so is our neoliberal, neocon establishment, the fucking Uniparty. They're asshole too, because they're the ones who let this happen. Because they all know the game. They all know the game. The game was to rise up China, to create what was just expand and become the world government. That's why they're all invested in China. They have a lot of their money in China. Because when it expands worldwide, even these people from the West that have all their money in in China, they're going to exert influence over it. It's no longer just going to be the Chinese government. It's going to become the world government, and they're going to meld together with the Chinese Communist Party. So, Chung Young Lau appears on the talent database some consider as an indication of the CCP's interest or friendship. Chongqing Zhang, a citizen of the People's Republic of China and a CCP member, lied about his nationality being Canadian. Is that a stereotype? I forgot the $1. That's funny. Sorry, guys. Darrell says, I feel like this topic would fall under Asian anti-hate bill. Probably why they would put it in the first place. Oh, you ain't wrong about that. Yeah, they're gonna. That's why when they call it the Chinese virus, they're trying for the first time ever with the coronavirus. They're trying to cover up the country of origin. They are trying not to call it the Chinese virus. We call the Spanish flu the Spanish flu. Because they are trying to shield accountability so that they can continue to curry favor, so that we can continue to sell our country off piece by piece to this fucking regime. True Grave says, if I ever run for office, I'm going to have that song from Tom McDonald playing at my rallies. Which song from Tom McDonald? There's a lot of good Tom McDonald songs. People So Stupid? That's one of my favorites. Randy Marsh, what's up, dude? You are late to the party, but it is still good to have you in here. Better late than absent entirely. Yeah, he says, hey, Ram, stay hydrated. I know, I go ranting and raving talking for 2 hours, and it just, I sort of have that, I don't know, it gets to my throat. But anyways, nevertheless, he was assigned to the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of the Infectious Diseases, where he studied the highly pathogenic and potential biological warfare agent, the Ebola virus. Great. So he gave the Chinese access to learn. They're probably doing gain-of-function research on the fucking Ebola virus. Yeah. That's the stuff that makes you fucking literally puke your guts out or shit your guts out. It kills 50% of the people that it infects. You get Ebola virus, you're pretty much fucking dead. Tessie and Rousseau said Spanish flu originated in China too. Yeah, I know. I didn't want to mince words, but yeah. What's up, maintenance man? Good to have you in here. So Chongqing Zi is now a professor at Zhejiang University and well-connected to the higher echelons of the CCP and the PLA. It was during the Clinton administration that the scientific chain migration of CCP and PLA scientists began, which has led to a massive infiltration of U.S. research programs and no doubt has contributed to China's biowarfare program. Yeah, and there's also the 1,000 Talents program that they have, which is basically a Chinese spy operation, which does just this. Fucking nuts. Now, for the second time, I'm coming towards the end, and I didn't really get to talk about the whole COVID issue, but I had a whole bunch of articles, but I'm so sick of COVID. I hate talking about it, but we have those new developments where, it just recently, oh shit, I had a whole bunch of CRT stuff to talk about too, man. I never get to all the stuff that I want to talk about. I do need to talk about, what's going on, recently. So, wait a second. Things out of order here. Because I only have about 10 minutes left on the stream here. 15, I guess. But so we know that article came out. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? The article came out from the Wall Street Journal talking about how the Wuhan, 3 scientists from the Wuhan lab got so sick that they needed to be hospitalized in the fall of 2019, and they had COVID-like symptoms. And of course, when Trump came out and said that it was a possibility that there was evidence that it came from the Wuhan lab, Trump derangement syndrome kicked in with the media, with the establishment, and they had to say it wasn't possible because it was so much more important for them to get Trump out of office, to derail Trump's campaign for 2020. That was so much more important than actually getting to the root of anything. These people are fucking evil. This is why I can no longer do the whole never attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence, because these people are fucking malicious. These people are fucking malicious. And now Fauci, who just several days ago, being grilled by Rand Paul, was told, said that, oh, no, there's no way that it came from the Wuhan lab. We didn't fund the gain-of-function research. He has now had to come out and take the other position because Fauci has taken every single position on every single aspect of COVID since day fucking one. This guy is a fraud. This guy is likely the reason coronavirus was given gain-of-function research, was turned into something that could actually become a pandemic, and then he was put in charge to cover it up and clean it up. No. He is a tool of the globalist state to crash the economy. This was all by design. This had to have been all by design. I will not believe that it wasn't. I will not believe that it wasn't. You know, the same man who funds the gain-of-function research in the Wuhan lab that was known to have poor safety protocols is then put in charge of containing it when it becomes an outbreak, and then he flip-flops in every single fucking position, and then he shuts down the entire fucking country, and we get censored on YouTube, we get censored on Facebook, we get censored on social media. Whenever we said anything that went against Dr. Fauci, then we got banned, we got censored, we got strikes against our channel. And now it's coming out that we were right from the fucking beginning. And anybody who looked at this with any shred of integrity, any shred of critical thinking, would have looked at it and said, there's no way that this happened right by this virology lab where they were studying this specific virus, and then it comes out and you're going to say it's a wet market? There are probably wet markets all the fuck over China. Why this one? What are the odds of this one? When you've got the Wuhan Institute of Virology right around the corner, blocks away. And we had all these people from the Wuhan lab. Remember the videos that were coming out on like GTV of people warning, I don't know, maybe it wasn't GTV, but these Chinese doctors and scientists, they were getting dragged away in the middle of the night and just disappeared because they were talking about it, because they were whistleblowing. Anybody who actually looks at this and isn't a fucking dolt that just listens to what they said, that just listens to whatever they're fed. I mean, this is just simple math. This is 2 + 2 = 4. I mean, the most likely scenario was always that it came from the fucking lab. How most diseases that are in animals do not just jump species to humans. And then they're doing this gain-of-function research in this lab 3 blocks away, and we're supposed to believe it's from a fucking wet market? Bitch, please. That's insulting to our fucking intelligence. That's insulting to our intelligence, and then we got absolutely shunned, ridiculed, banned. That's when anybody should have known that somebody was covering something up. That's when we should have known that this was bad actors. And now, I think they've gone back on this a little bit since. Let me find this article here. Give me just a moment. My computer's going really slow. But Joe Biden, Jen Psaki comes out. Okay, so here, Jen Psaki comes out and she says, the White House says the WHO will lead the investigations into the origin of COVID-19. Now, I think they've gone back on this a little bit. I think Joe Biden came up with some bullshit mandate. Oh, we'll give you 90 days to come up with the origins of it. It's absolute bullshit. He's covering up for the Chinese because we all know that he is compromised by the CCP. We know him and Hunter both. They've got the goods on him. They've got the dirt. They can expose them. So Joe Biden is doing everything he can to cover up the culpability of the CCP. And we all know that the WHO is basically a Chinese front organization. This Tedros guy was a communist from Ethiopia, the guy who runs the WHO. They cover for China constantly. And then I think the investigators didn't even visit the Wuhan lab in the first phase of the investigation into COVID. They didn't even go to Wuhan. And then they're saying, okay, we're going to let the WHO lead it. That's some bullshit. That means you are taking the back seat. Why do you not stand up and say, no, America will figure this out? This is not leading from the front. But what did we expect from Geriatric Joe? Could we have expected anything more? Fuck no, we couldn't have. And Peter Doocy, who is to I don't want to compare him to Jim Acosta because Jim Acosta was a fucking tool bag piece of shit. But Peter Doocy is what Jim Acosta wishes he could have been, because Peter Doocy has actually been asking hard questions and legitimate questions of the Biden administration, and this was great.
Of COVID, there's a new Wall Street Journal story that 3 researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology were hospitalized with symptoms consistent with both COVID-19 and common seasonal illness in November of 2019. That's something that is apparently known to U.S. intel officials. So why isn't President Biden pushing for more access, more information to get to the bottom of exactly what happened?
We are. And we have repeatedly called for the WHO to support an expert-driven evaluation of the pandemic's origins that is free from interference or politicization. Now, there were phase 1 results that came through. We were not, during that first phase of the investigation, there was not access to data, there was not information provided. And now we're hopeful that WHO can move into a more transparent, independent phase 2 investigation.
I mean, what the fuck? This woman is the worst press secretary I have ever seen. That is, so she goes on and says that the WHO withheld all of the data from us. They did not give us anything, and we are going to move forward just hopeful that they are completely different this year in phase 2. This is an admission of utter disinterest. This is an admission that they are going to allow the WHO, they are going to allow to cover for China. This is evil, ladies and gentlemen. This is evil. This should not be allowed. How anybody could listen to those last sentences that Jen Psaki just said and not be like, are you fucking nuts? You just told us they did it. They withheld all of the information. We're not transparent. And now you're relying on hopefulness. That's your position. We're going to continue to let them take the reins, and we'll just be hopeful that they don't do the same thing to us they just fucking did to us.
But with 589,920 dead Americans, at what point does President Biden say, we don't want to wait for the WHO, we don't know what they're doing, this needs to be an American-led effort to get to the bottom of what happened?
Well, first of all, we need access to the underlying data and information in order to have that investigation.
And why not? But he talks all the time about how he's known President Xi for a long time. So why can't he just call
and we need them
him for that information?
I think you're misunderstanding how this process actually works. An international investigation led by the World Health Organization is something that we've actually been pressing for several months in coordination with a range of partners around the world. We need that data. We need that information from the Chinese government. What we can't do, and what I would caution anyone doing, is leaping ahead of an actual international process. We don't have enough data and information to drum to a conclusion at this point in time.
So she said she doesn't want anybody to leap ahead of an international process. We should be leaping ahead of the international process. The international process does not have our interests at stake. That is not their priority. In fact, I would venture to guess that with most of these global organizations that are globalist in nature, they're going to side with China, who their communist principles align with more than America.
Is there any amount of casualties from COVID in this country that would make you want to not wait for an international effort and just do it as...
Well,
I mean, see, Peter Doocy's actually asking the hard fucking questions. And Jen Psaki, she is not prepared for that. That's because he's probably the only reporter in there that's not just lobbing her softball questions that she can just smack around however the hell she wants. He's actually going in there and asking her tough questions and not just being a clown like Jim Acosta was. But he's that same thorn in the side. Let's see. Let's see what's going on in the chat before I sign off real quick. Let's see. Man, you guys have been... True Grave says, I think we should repeal everything besides the first 10 Amendment. It's not that women shouldn't vote. Landless people shouldn't vote. Yeah, well, I mean, that's... I've said that would be a significant alternative. Is landless people shouldn't vote too? Yeah, that's that would probably be even better than the women thing. But then I don't know. Both of them would be tough to do. But yeah, I think a lot of the amendments that have been added should be they're unnecessary. Women should be able to vote if they own property. You know, I could grant you that. That would not upset me. That would not upset me. I mean, you'll see when I talk about this, I even say, like, my alternative is that you should have to have land to vote. And I don't own land. I'd give up my right to vote if that meant that only landowners could vote. Sure. Because we're not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic, and I know that landowners who have a bought-in stake in this country are more likely going to preserve the liberty and freedom of this country. So I'm okay with that. I don't have to feel like, I did my part. Yay, my voice got heard. Whatever. Let's see. JG Mopar says 99% of the Democrats and 905% of the Republicans are compromised by China. I think he meant 90.5% or something. I don't know. 95%. Yeah. So many of our politicians are completely compromised by China. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, so 90% of the R's, yeah. Randy Marsh says the 14th through 16th Amendments are pretty important as well. Yeah, they are. But, you know, it's there are a few in there we need to look at, though. 17th, where, you know, direct election of senators. It was so much better when the states appointed the senators, because then you actually had to pay attention to what was going on in your state politics. Let's see. WHO is owned by China and the school unions, it seems. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are... So many of these international globalist organizations are Chinese front groups. They really are. True Grave says, my problem with testing for voting is much like who counts the vote and wins, who writes the test and wins. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you there. I'm not a fan of testing for a vote because that can get corrupted very easily too. Yeah, Robert Whaley says, but what kind of ice cream did Biden order? I know. That's all the media is fucking interested in. Let's see. Maintenance Man says, I own my land outright. Taxes are $38 a year. Nice. But the problem with the land ownership, though, you know, the Democrats, the conniving fucks, they'll have somebody go out and they'll buy like they'll have one of their billionaire. They're George Soros. You know, he'll go out and he'll buy a ton of land, and then he'll just sell off like little half acre, you know, not even half acre, like 1 yard square plots. Just like you get a square foot for $1. You know, they will work their way around that shit. You know they would. They'd find something. Let's see. Randy Marsh says we're going to see another attempt at a restraining order for asking tough questions. I know. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for tonight. Thank you for coming and joining. Don't forget to share this, share the stream with people. Tell people about the show. Help this channel grow. I'm really trying to get to 2,000 subscribers here on YouTube. And as always, rev your engines, ride hard, and fight like hell.